Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the EGF Power Series. Tonight we have some amazing matches lined up for you as the final week of qualifiers goes down just before playoffs. We're going to be starting off with a couple of teams duking it out here for a possible second seed and ticket into the playoffs. I am Doran. I am joined by David. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm doing absolutely fantastic today. Excited for a great games, super great games today overall. You know, FSU versus College of Charleston first up, and I think the teams are about ready to go.
That they are. There's a little bit of precursor to this match. College of Charleston in that third seed, looking to break their way in. However, Florida State have been valiantly defending that and have a fantastic win-loss record. So if College of Charleston want to see playoffs, they need to take this one decisively.
Oh yeah, you know, we saw we saw Florida State in a previous invitational here at EGF, so I'm kind of excited to see how they do. They've performed really well in that before, and you know, College of Charleston is a newer team for me, but they are third in the group. They really, like you mentioned, they really do need to take this match in order for them to even progress in the group and go on to the finals this weekend.
I mean, Florida State, a team with a lot of pedigree here, but they've been looking rough lately. They've been losing a couple games to teams they probably shouldn't have. Having a little bit of bad time, and as College of Charleston are starting to rail this goal with just shot after shot after shot. It's looking a little bit dicey, but FSU holding strong on the defensive end.
Yeah, FSU definitely strong for sure. It's going a little back and forth, like you mentioned. Here trying to continue going for this defense, but FSU trying to continue put on this offensive pressure. College of Charleston also trying to fight back, but FSU is not letting up.
Yeah, FSU are going to continuously apply pressure. A lot of the ability that we've seen from them has been on the counterattack. It's where we've seen a majority of their goals. It's how we see their attacks come through. They rely on solid defense and waiting for the right opportunity to come in, but they haven't been able to capitalize so far. So I've got to ask David, what do you think it's going to take for this Charleston team to actually score on Florida State when their defense is already so strong?
Well, their defensive line is definitely very strong, but I think, obviously, it's a game of mistakes here in the 3v3, right? Or if you can just lose a 50-50 and somehow lose a defender, you can definitely do some pretty big things. Otherwise, just play really aggressive. You know, go for some of those demos. If you can knock one or two people off the field, it's going to be quite easy for you to score.
That's another way. Eliminate those players, create opportunities. And Salcedo's already found one, has a shot. Head can't get there, and a goal for Florida State to open up just about 2 minutes in here. It's a fantastic start for the Seminoles.
Yeah, and Florida State definitely showing why they are one of those teams to beat here in this group. You know, they are, you know, like you mentioned, one of the top two teams in this group. I believe they're second, right behind Georgia Tech here. So quite excited to see what happens on the day. Technically, College of Charleston did take the first win today against University of Louisiana Lafayette because of the fact that they were missing a few players there, but Lafayette hopefully to come back later today at 7 o'clock for their...
I mean, well, here's the big thing is they technically win that match 3-0 by the forfeit, so that already puts them in a great position, and now it's just a matter of beating Florida State to try and take away that second seed. Florida State, though, again, already off to a good start, and it feels like the longer this goes, the more Florida State learn about how College of Charleston want to attack, the more they can shut it down. They're creating more and more opportunities here, and Salcedo's got another shot. 2-0 halfway through the game here, and Charleston are starting to run out of looks to give Florida State.
Yeah, and absolutely clean there right off the backboard. Set up to the teammate Salcedo. I'm going to pronounce that wrong 9 times out of 10, but completely great teamwork, great setup, and leads to a second score for FSU.
And now here for FSU, that's kind of the question raised of how much defense do you want to play? Obviously a very defensive-oriented team. We've seen them do this throughout their run here at EGF, but College of Charleston need to get aggressive. They need to start taking risks, and there's one. That 50-50 challenge in the opponent's half is going to net them a whole goal here. David, this game might not be as tied up as we thought it was.
Yeah, and this is, like I mentioned earlier, you know, one of the ways that they're going to be able to come back into this game is go for those 50-50 challenges, shake off a couple defenders. He ended up shaking off 2, and that leads to a really easy goal for the Charleston. Now only a 1-goal difference means that's anyone's game.
And a 1-goal difference is not much in Rocket League, right? They can score this at any point in time, but College of Charleston, it's taking them winning 50-50, something that Florida State is particularly good at. You see them win 2 in a row there. It's coming at them a 3rd goal even. Florida State are going to solidify their lead a good bit, and Now, David, we've seen a lot of play in this game, right? College of Charleston start to come back with one goal, but the driver's seat really seems to be in Florida State's favor. Do you think that's going to change anytime soon, or do you think Charleston is going to be able to figure out one specific thing that's going to turn this game around?
I mean, if you're looking at the previous head-to-head between these guys, it is FSU favored, but, you know, if we just need to clean up the little bit of College of Charleston's plays, you saw them kind of missing those 50-50s. You know, you said 2 of them back-to-back just there. So it's about just tightening up your play, being a little bit more precise, you know, polishing those corners like another fellow caster, Tugboat, likes to say. So if they can clean up that play just a little bit and set up those plays for each other, I think they can definitely come back in this game.
Yeah, it's going to take some aggression. It's going to take some catching Florida State off guard. But if there's one thing that's difficult to do to the Seminoles, it's going to be shake them in general. They tend to be fairly solid on the defense, and so quick, aggressive plays aren't going to be forcing out too many mistakes from them. And double commits like that from College of Charleston are going to put them in a very, very dicey spot. In fact, Icarus going to take full advantage of it, make that score 4-1 with just a minute left on the clock. 3 goals is a hell of a tall order here for Charleston.
Yeah, and as soon as you said that double commit, it was immediately passed off to Icarus. Both players that went for the commit there too far out to make that turn and try to go for that defense. And Florida State up now 4-1 with 1 minute left. Going to be so tough for Charleston to come back. I think they're going to start thinking about game 2 here.
I mean, we've seen games like this from other teams we saw multiple times. Last night, it's one team will be in charge, but the other team just needs to pull out all of the stops in order to make it happen. And College of Charleston, they looked like they were punching up a weight level at the beginning, and I want to see them find that confidence again. And I think given a little bit of time between game 1 and game 2 here, they're going to be able to do it. And honestly, David, if you're in their shoes, right, you see yourself in this position, how do you reset? How do you mentally pull yourself back into this game so you can find that confidence, start winning those 50-50s again?
I mean, I think College of Charleston, although they have been playing their defense just a little poorly, they definitely should start relying on their offense. If you look at their shot attempts here, you know, both teams are actually at an even number of shot attempts. It's just been FSU playing their offense just a little bit stronger and being able to keep the ball on Charleston's side of the board here, right? So, you know, I think just come back with more aggression, right? If you can fight fire with fire, I think, you know, you've seen success with some of your offensive plays just like now, right? You're able to make some of these plays happen. Just keep up that offensive pressure. Make FSU play on their weaker end, which I think their defensive side is at least a little weaker than their offensive side.
So you want to see them play a little bit more like an RIT sort of side. You know, we're going to score goals on you and just rely on the fact that you are going to score less goals than us. You know, the best defense is a good offense right now for College of Charleston. Keeping Florida State on the back leg is definitely a really good way to try and take away these games in the future. It's the way we've seen teams like Niagara pull out massive victories against teams that they had no right beating. And Charleston, in clutch moments like this, you have to make those drastic decisions, don't you?
For sure. And, you know, looking at the scoreboard afterwards, I definitely think that a player to target on FSU side is going to be Icarus. Icarus has been showing some absolutely fantastic gameplay overall today. And if you can just take him off the field, you know, I mentioned earlier, demoing just some players can lead to some absolutely, just, you know, having a numbers advantage overall is just really strong. So if you can take out Icarus, one of their star players here, you can find a few, you know, 5-10 seconds to gain a lead.
Yeah, if there's one thing that Florida State have, it's some solid team play. You take one of those pieces out, it's going to be a great way back into this game. Icarus, notably, with his chat off, is not going to be able to communicate quite as well when his car is not in the equation. College of Charleston already firing off shots towards the Florida State net. Another cross in here. Looking back at the beginnings of game 1, Charleston really come out swinging. I want to see him maintain that momentum, though, because scoring on this Florida State team is a whole other thing versus just attacking on them.
Oh yeah, but, you know, pressure's on now, and College of Charleston, you know, playing that offensive side like I had mentioned before, and this pressure is going to continue keeping up. I would like to see them try to set up these plays for each other a little more. It kind of feels very like, you know, like solo queue mentality. If you're just kind of going for shots over and over, you know, you are playing as a team of 3 for a reason. You have these communications, right? Go for some of these corner setups for each other, you know. Be reliant on your teammates to help you out because they're there for a reason.
Oh, Ghost nearly gets a sick pass, and in fact, I think he will lengthen that ball just a bit, allow Icarus to get there in time. Now with a shot of his own, 50-50 versus going to be lost, and still the score is 0 at about a minute at this point in time. During the previous game, we saw Florida State rocket off into a very impressive lead, but And the second one taking it a bit slower. College of Charleston managing to take some of the momentum. Salcido nearly own goals here, but a good save is going to stop that ball from crossing the net. Now on the counterattack, Iridium stops that one immediately. And Florida State, they like playing very heavily within their own goal. They're very passive, and they're one of the few teams that are actually able to make it work. But if College of Charleston can find the pressure, start forcing out those bad rotations, they're going to be able to score on this team eventually, because you see right there, another double commit from Florida State. All it matters is that you manage to get rapid shots off, but College of Charleston just aren't able to keep up with the speed of defense that Florida are putting on. Oh my gosh, a mistake though. In goal from Ghost, a rare one at that, is going to net College of Charleston the first goal of the game.
Yeah, and He is definitely playing a little bit out of his mind here, gets a little bit of a chuckle for scoring that first goal. And, you know, first goal definitely does bring some momentum here for College of Charleston. You know, coming back on the losing foot from game one, getting that first goal can help boost morales a lot. And I think that it's definitely showing for College of Charleston here.
I mean, we talked about mentality and how important it's going to be coming into the second game, finding your confidence that you can win 50-50s. That's one way to do it. Icarus has a 1v1 though, 50-50. Sent back to the middle, Hen goes up for another one. Ghost wins that. Icarus back to center. Ball's open. Salcido for the shot. Ente with a save to hold on to Charleston's lead. Now they have a counter attack here. Ghost, though, gets to play it out by his team a little bit of time, but a very, very close call for the blue side.
Yeah, and Ente absolutely on a fantastic shot, knowing that the rest of his teammates have committed for the balls in earlier 50-50s, just going for a miraculous save there. Now College of Charleston back on the offense. This pressure has been so strong, and Ente coming in again for the score.
Man, College of Charleston coming out swinging. Ente especially playing very, very aggressive. You see he's going for every single one of these shots. College of Charleston challenging in the corner, most notably, is what's creating a lot of these crosses. Florida State, they play passive in their goal, and finally, Charleston's realizing that this creates a lot of opportunities for them just outside the net, actually, where they can take advantage of it, put up very easy passes to their teammates that are going to create opportunities like that for Ente that you can't be missing.
Now, College of Charleston finally getting that 2-point lead of their own, feeling a little bit more comfortable, meaning that they could just potentially play, you know, a little bit of a keep away game for some defense, but Icarus getting that demolition off means that it's going to be tougher for College of Charleston, especially since FSU is on the offensive side now. College of Charleston definitely wants to just take this ball off of their side of the field and start making more offensive plays like they have for the first half of this game.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think keeping that on the offensive, not parking the bus, really just taking it into your own hands, continuing to play the game that you have, that's how you're going to beat this Florida State side. They're going to get more aggressive, but I promise you, you'll be able to handle it at College of Charleston. All it takes is a little bit of skill, but Icarus coming in, firing a shot towards the far post there off of a whiff save is going to be what does it. Florida State start to crawl their way back into this. Charleston definitely not out, but starting to sweat a little bit.
Yeah, definitely a little tough. Ente saved one, but not the second. Just barely missing it by inches there. And now, you know, 1-point game does mean that it is really anybody's game. College of Charleston is going to take that offensive advantage. It really does seem like whichever team is in the driver's seat offensively is starting to take the game away in their own hands.
It's all about the snowball right now for College of Charleston, right? We saw the first goal go into the second. You're right. Taking the game into their hands is the way to go, but maintaining that into future games is going to be even more difficult for them, and it can't be expressed. This is an uphill battle for Charleston. Yes, they got their 3-0 versus Lafayette earlier, but there's an even bigger titan of EGF in their way in Florida State, and they are knocking on their door with shot after shot. The score may be in their favor, but College of Charleston are not out of the woods yet here. Ghost firing off another shot, He with the save. The rotations from College of Charleston being consistent here, and finally getting an opportunity to play the ball out of their half. No! Salcido comes, rockets one out. And it feels like there's more FSU players in Charleston's half than there are Charleston players, and that's finally going to be taken advantage of here as the score is even up 2-2.
That backflip from Icarus was so nice to see, just putting it into the corner pocket there. Absolutely fantastic play. And I want to note, for FSU, I think the biggest thing for them is that once they get that offensive advantage, it's so hard for College of Charleston to take that back away from them because FSU's team play has just been so strong. I feel like their passing plays, their ability to set up for each other has just, and their communication has just been strong enough where College of Charleston hasn't been able to kind of take that away from them. They're mostly playing like it's a little solo queue for this on the side of College of Charleston. So like I said earlier, I would just want them to clean up that teamwork, clean up those communications. I want to see them play more as a team.
I totally agree. I think the biggest difference between these teams, both of them have incredibly good positioning, but Florida State is recognizing one another's positioning and taking advantage of it, finding one another when they're ricocheting these balls around, and that's been the difference, right? It's capitalizing on your team's ability to position, and Charleston just haven't been able to do that. They're throwing balls into the center, they're trying to find players who can capitalize on it, but they're not making intentional touches onto the ball like Florida State are. Here comes another cross, though, the shot! It's gonna be had, it's floating off the goal line, it's kept out!
That was so
they lead us the overtime, Hans.
That was so close. Entei coming in at the last second. I swear he's quite literally everywhere. Offense, defense. It's incredible to see him play. But now that it's overtime, like you mentioned, it's just going to be another back and forth battle here at center field.
Let's get into it here. Charleston have to build their way out of their half. We talk about intentional balls, and this is where it's most key, getting it out into the attacking half where you can totally take advantage of Florida State is what they need to do. Everything that we've talked about during this game, though, comes into a culmination right about now. They need to be able to capitalize on all the opportunities they're given. They've got one here. Play back towards Ghost. Would be another cross from Entei. Played down straight for the goal. This is a very dangerous position for Florida State, but they do manage to get a touch on the ball. Played out. College of Charleston continuing the pressure. It's what we want to see from them, but a counterattack from Ghost could be doing it. No! Can't quite find the touch on the ball. Plays it up the corner now, and College of Charleston back on the back foot. Have to build out of their half yet again, but they're starting to look a lot more comfortable from that position.
God, it feels like the longer this game goes on, the more even these teams feel for some reason. And honestly, Icarus is going to try to continue making these plays, but College of Charleston is all over that net. Finally, Salcedo going to be one of the first FSU players to miss a 50-50, but oh my God, so many close shots here from FSU.
FSU ricocheting shot after shot after shot, a demolition even for their troubles. They are looking formidable, but College of Charleston are holding on so strong right now. Great 50-50! Oh, it was damn close there by nearly netting himself a shot. Icarus going for bumps, pass to Salcedo, beautifully done by the Florida State side, dismantling the defense and winning on the 50-50s here. Look at this. Ghost off the wall, past center, and you know why there's not a member in goal? It's because the one remaining player of Florida State had 100% taken him out of the equation. A beautiful finish by Florida State to take game 2 against Charleston.
Yeah, and game 2 definitely just showing, FSU's team play, like we've mentioned overall, and Charleston, they've come pretty close in terms of these numbers of shots, but I want to see more. I've kept mentioning it, and I keep wanting to say it again. This is a team of 3. This isn't 3 individual solo players trying to get their own individual shots, right? Set up these corner shots for each other. Set up these pass plays for each other, because FSU has only been getting those types of plays in, and it's a lot easier to play a 2v3 defense than a 1v3 team.
Totally agreed with you there. And we talk about the longer this goes, the closer it gets. How much closer can it get for this Charleston team? How much deeper can they dig, and what else can they change about their play style moving on into what might just be their final game here of the Power Series? Everything's on the line for them. How do you think they do it, David?
I mean, we've seen them find a lot of success in making those offensive plays happen overall, right? You said earlier on in the match that this game was really snowbally. So, College of Charleston, they need to start with that fantastic position like they did before. I definitely think they 100% can, but just don't let FSU take it away from them. FSU, showed that once they were able to take that pressure off their shoulders, they're able to control the game and put it and just bring it straight home to a victory, right? So College of Charleston just needs to keep the tempo on their side, and I definitely think they can.
Well, keeping that tempo on their side is going to be something that's difficult to do. Coming off of a really, really rough overtime, especially, you're definitely going to be feeling it here. And I think we have a little bit of a server issue. So luckily for College of Charleston, that actually gives them a little bit of a reprieve here. Take a breather in the main menu while we get it reset up. But for you guys, it'll just be a quick couple moments. We'll be right back with you shortly. back. I promised you guys it would be short, didn't I? And wasn't it, David? A quick break and a now meant to be quick game here for Florida State, up 2-0. Have College of Charleston up against the ropes. Gonna look for another goal here. Fantastic shot. Oh, and Icarus comes in to finish it off. Already a 1-0 lead at just 6 seconds into the match. Florida State looking to continue that momentum from last game.
Yeah, I feel like we barely got the intro started off, and Icarus is already in front of the goal with the ball in hand. Great setup play there from Ghost, and you know that score is basically as short as the break that we just had.
Yeah, 6 seconds, right about on time here. Florida State line themselves up nicely, but it wouldn't be the first time that College of Charleston are in this position and can look to get a goal back. We've seen their counterattacks be big. We've seen Florida State make mistakes on the defense, most notably in the mechanical sense. I've seen them really shaken up here. There's a lot of pressure on this game. This is the one that's going to lock up that second seed, lock up that playoff position for them, and so they need to clean it out. They've got a nice lead, but it's all the pressure on both of these teams as what might be the last game of the series comes in. Shot off the crossbar from Ghost. And there it is, that pressure I was talking about. It can get to you. It can make you miss easy ones like that.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about between those two games, the College of Charleston needs to start taking this pressure and putting it in their own control, right? But it's so hard for them to take it away from the FSU team. They get a nice pass to Ente there, but he gets to just swing it past back to his own goal, and FSU is already there to make something happen out of it.
Now Florida State, again, not out of the woods, but just playing that defensive style that they like to. They put two members in goal, play a little bit aggressive when they need to, but honestly just win 50-50s in your own half, and eventually you'll catch the other team off of a rotation. And that's kind of been their mantra the whole time. Charleston, you see committing 3 members into the opponent's half nearly every single push here, floating around that midway point, but not really wanting to overcommit to something. And I feel like that's what you need to do if you're Charleston right now, is just commit really hard to a push.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, they tried to commit there against FSU, but now Icarus tries to make another big play. That's definitely what he's been doing all day here. And College of Charleston trying to bring it back, finally getting that offensive pressure that they need to just try to secure a goal here.
And Tay pushes in. College of Charleston have Florida State in a little bit of a tricky position. Florida State starting to run low on boost. They do a good job of controlling their own, but the more time that College of Charleston spend with this ball, it is inevitable that Florida State will just start to run out. The longer that goes, the less shots they're going to be able to save, and the less of that defense that they like to play they can. Though they do get a little bit of a reprieve here as the ball is launched out of their half into College of Charleston territory. We're just about halfway through this final game, and with Florida State up, it will just be that. Charleston, it's looking rough. They're not giving me any new looks, and that's why I struggle to see them scoring this goal right now.
Yeah, it's so tough. They just keep bouncing it off this backboard. Feels like, you know, when they are going for some of these plays, there is just the little bit of lack of, you know, finite control there, finite definition of exactly where they want this ball to go, right? So, you know, definitely a bit of the pressure probably getting to them from FSU. You know, they're definitely on the back foot 0-2 in the series, and they do need to win this match in order for them to take that, potentially take that second place in this group. So this game matters a lot to them.
So College of Charleston now playing in their own half. We'll see if they can still get it out. They've been a little bit more successful with it as of late, but Icarus is applying some really solid pressure here, just ticking time off that clock. And Florida State, the big issue for Charleston right now with them is the fact that you're going to be beat out in the air almost every single time. Florida State more experienced, generally just going to be more mechanically adept in the air. You have to beat them on the ground. You have to over-rotate. And with Ente having to make saves like that constantly, there's no time to do those kind of things.
Ente really showing why he's the strongest of the bunch. He's quite, honestly, I feel like I really do see him everywhere. He's definitely been the star player of College of Charleston, but you know, it's going to be tough to compete against, you know, another star player in Icarus. And you know, you mentioned also just more mechanically gifted players here on the FSU side. They've definitely shown that they've played together a lot longer compared to the Charleston boys here.
Oh my goodness. 2 shots off the backboard. You want to talk about mechanics? There you go. Florida State come in nearly the double touch that they're looking for off of a very nice set of aerials, but now they've got to fight out of their own half, something they're not too opposed to here with 44 seconds left on the clock. A 1-goal difference usually isn't all that much in Rocket League, but against a team like Florida State, it tends to feel like a mile. They will lock you down and stop you from doing anything. These rotations have been perfect. The speed of them has been perfectly timed to keep up with Charleston's shots. and it's netted them a nice couple of counterattacks to keep Charleston on their heels, make sure that they're always having to look out for that counterattack that I mentioned. Good dribble here by Icarus, could be big, oh my goodness. He's trying to sauce them all. Ghost with a dribble of his own design. Air roll shot not to be had. Now counterattack from Charleston. The goal is wide open here for Florida State. They have got to be careful.
Yeah, 10 seconds left here for the College of Charleston. They do have to put at least one goal into this net for this to happen, but FSU is definitely not going to try to let that happen, keeping it on the Charleston side. Immediately touching the ground at 0 seconds there. FSU going to take game 3, 1-0.
And a little bit uncomfortable there, right? We look at the previous game they had against College of Charleston, and this one was so much closer. College of Charleston have definitely improved over these past couple of weeks, and they've learned a lot against teams like Florida State, but commiserations to Charleston, right? They're out. That's it. That was their one shot at trying to take away the second seed. Florida State lock it up. Now Florida State actually have a really, really interesting match on their hands. Georgia Tech, a team that has haunted them, not just here, but in every single tournament Florida State seems to enter. They come up against Georgia Tech, and they lose. And it happened earlier on in week 2. We saw Florida State take on Georgia Tech, and inevitably, it was their demon that came back to haunt them. Florida State, this match is all for pride for them. This is for all but bragging rights here as we head into our second match of the night. But big question is, will they be able to overcome it, especially heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, and especially since, neighboring states, right? They definitely have to have some big rivalry between the two guys. They're probably even played on land together a few times. So I can imagine that FSU definitely want to swing back against Georgia Tech, but now FSU, since they took the victory out of College of Charleston, means that they're going to secure actually the second spot in this group, and they're going to be advancing to the finals this weekend as well, so congratulations to them. We're going to be cut it to a quick break as we do bring on this second game for you guys tonight, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to what might just be the biggest match of the night. We've got Georgia Tech taking on Florida State here, and this one is all for pride. Georgia Tech, the demon that has haunted Florida State for such a long time, unable to find the victory yet. However, in the last week of qualifiers, the last week of play-ins here, we're seeing if they can take their last chance at beating this monster.
Absolutely, my man. Oh, first of all, Dor, I'm very glad to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna be joining the broadcast for the rest of the night. Just had to take a little bit of a break on the mental, and now we are back, and I'm ready for some good old clean Rocket League action. As the action's already going on the server as we're 3 seconds in.
Yes, sir. Florida State still on the orange side. Georgia Tech loading in on the blue. And how this match has played out historically is Florida State has generally played a bit too passive, and Georgia Tech have taken full advantage of it. Let's see if they can fix that out here. A shot from Icarus.
Oh my.
It's already in. Florida State lead the game 1-0.
Yeah, already wonderful counterattack, and I mean this is the Florida State kind of play style. I mean, we mentioned this earlier. Florida State University, they love counterattacks. They love to go super high, boot balls downfield, and at least have a person over the mid, ready and raring to go to collect that ball. And that's exactly what happened. And, oh, Ghost has a big opportunity, but it's going to be our boy Smiley Face, a.k.a. Colin D, making his way in, getting that save off the backboard, but already yet another close opportunity for FSU. The Seminoles looking good right now, man.
They are, but a 1-0 lead is nothing against Georgia Tech.
No.
And that's why dude comes out of nowhere. Easy challenge for him. And an overextension here by that Florida State defense is going to mean a goal for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, no, that was just a perfect storm of just unfortunate scenarios for FSU. One player whiffs the ball, another one gets bumped in the back lines, and all that last man needed to do was sauce it on into the goal. So, yeah, a 1-1, and, I mean, Georgia Tech, there's a reason why they're first seed at the moment. There's a reason why they're pretty much confirmed to have that first seed almost no matter what. There are a couple of very rare, I guess you could say, odds that they could actually, make it down to the second seed. But otherwise, these are the two teams that are going to be representing this group in playoffs. And honestly, we've just been seeing great performances from both teams in all 3 of these weeks.
I mean, like you and I talked about, the seeding here in the group doesn't matter too much for playoffs. It's more about performance. It'll be judged, and then they'll be seeded based off of that. But I still think this one goes a lot for pride. And honestly, seeding is going to be decided a lot on how these teams have played against one another specifically. And so Georgia Tech, if they can take away another game here, that would be huge for them. And it's already looking really good. I love the aggression we've seen out of this blue side.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we haven't seen that Georgia Tech spark just yet. This team is very proactive in the air, in a sense. So, I mean, I'm waiting for some of those flashy plays over to the front end. But otherwise, just actually talking about regular mechanics, just Rocket League fundamentals. Georgia Tech, they love to depend on their defensive side. They're also a very counterattack heavy team with a focus towards midfield. Now, Florida State, however, they're also a very much a defensive-sided team with a focus to the attacking side. So they'll have an anchor, either top right or top left, pretty much ready for clears. And Georgia Tech, they always keep a player more or less near mid and more or less a 2-1 dynamic going towards the back line in the middle. So, I mean, both these teams, they know exactly what they're doing. It's just going to be it's just going to be a matter of who can break through the puzzle, who can solve the puzzle before this set ends.
And right now, it's feeling like it's been Florida State in the driver's seat, putting balls in on the net. Saucedo misses! Just wide on the goal here. 2 shots in, but nothing happens for Florida State. They managed to keep a little bit of ball control here. Start denying Georgia Tech's a bit of boost, but honestly, it feels like they haven't been able to make much. Both these teams, like you mentioned, very defensive, very counterattack heavy. And so I fully expect these goals to be relatively low scoring. I expect them to take goals where they can get them and then just play a bit of defense. But at 1-1, someone's got to break first here. Zudrav's in. Good shot, but a great save by Saucedo there, denying the dunk from going in.
Saucedo, my friend. Beautiful work from our man. And see, I'm thinking of this guy's name because there's 2 ways that you could go at it. It could either be what? Salcedo or Saucedo? Other one. I would love confirmation on that. You're the FSU man. Although, believe it or not, I can't believe this hasn't happened thus far in Power Series. But we're both Florida men. I have literally, like, worked FSU events in the past. Like, why haven't we been on a broadcast for FSU before?
Wait, whoa, okay, yes.
Right.
Florida.
But what was this?
Fields backflip, man. Oh.
Unfortunate.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, right, the quickest way to get up in Rocket League is to do jump, boost, jump while tilting your car back. The issue is, if you're still tilting your car back while you do that second jump, you just backflip and keep yourself in place. That's what happened there to Icarus, and that just feels so bad.
Okay. Shenanigans here in the game because, again, both goals for Georgia Tech coming off of both wide mistakes from FSU, but of course Georgia Tech forcing the scenario. And you still have 40 seconds left in our game. The Seminoles trying to bring this one back as you already have an attack from Salcedo over to the middle. In comes Ghost, going towards the goal. It's going to hit off the post, and in comes the counterattack from Dudat. Flips it on over, looking for a second tap, but instead it's going to be Icarus shutting it down before Dudat could get the second tap. Salcedo in an awkward position, trying to dribble it on out, and now with 15 seconds left, FSU, they do have an opening. Icarus needs to score, and it's going to be open backfield.
Oh,
what just happened? Where did the rotation
Georgia
go?
Tech doing? The 3-man commit while you're up a goal? With 20 seconds left on the clock, this is a fatal error. Yes, all of Florida State's goals against them have been made off of a missed touch or some mechanical failure. That was a total breakdown of rotations from Georgia Tech and something that we're not used to seeing from them.
Let's see what happens, boys. It's now, oh wow, what a pass from Icarus. Trying to go towards the middle, but instead it was taken by a Georgia Tech player, so almost went against them in that situation. But ball is going to go downfield. Ladies and gentlemen, we already have an overtime on our hands. It's 2-2.
Gus, I promised you this game would be good, man, but we could never have accounted for this level of play. These teams are duking it out. And in overtime, all that pressure is going to be on, and this is kind of when FSU starts to see those cracks in their own armor, when those little mechanical failures start to count so much. When the pressure is on, this is when they struggle against Georgia Tech. Ghost making his way out of the half. They've had a good bit of ball control here, and a double commit from Georgia Tech is a huge opening. Salcedo with the shot. Ghost could follow up here. It's a goal for Florida State. 3-2. They take it in overtime.
So FSU now, I mean, they're trying to force the situation in terms of trying to make it into that first seed. Although the path may be steep, FSU, they could certainly do it because, man, what a game from them. Staying consistent. And Georgia Tech, again, like I mentioned before, not exactly able to get the goals on their own terms. And even then, FSU able to clean things up near the end and catch themselves the first game of this BO5.
I mean, we talked about us both being Florida men, but actually right now, most days, I've watched these guys play against one another multiple times in multiple tournaments. Every single time, it looks like Georgia Tech completely outclasses FSU. And that's not necessarily like by a large margin so much as it is on a consistent basis. This looks completely the opposite. FSU, their goals are coming to them from mistakes, but they seem far smaller than the mistakes that Georgia Tech are making. That alongside the fact that FSU were able to force goals without Georgia Tech needing to make large mistakes leads me to think that this is a pretty good series for them so far.
All right, absolutely, my friend. And looks like we are going to get a little bit of a sub here for Georgia Tech. Don't really know who they're actually going to replace, but it's going to be Kurol subbing in for the squad in this second game. Dor, is this the right move, yay or nay?
I mean, if you have a team like we've seen from a couple others, right? I believe, let me see who it was that I'm trying to mention here. It's slipping my mind. Man, I think it's Syracuse, but they have effectively 4 starters, right? And while you could put any 3 of these in on a good day, and they're going to play fine, it's really nice having that 4, so you can come in with a mental reset. And what that's going to do for Georgia Tech, and what I suspect they're going to be doing here, is stepping up the pace massively as we head into game 2, and really try to catch Florida State off guard. And that's really, really dangerous in a series like this where the pressure's already on. Getting caught off guard can throw your mental game off so much.
Well, let's see, my friend, as you know, we kick off once again. It's game number 2, and who did they actually replace? They got Dudat, Cure All Good, Colin D. I think it was
Giraffe they took out.
Yeah, Giraffe going down. Okay. Again, off of a single game, don't really know what the impact would have been on the actual squad. This might be one of those teams where they just have 4 starting players in a sense, and they just want to run the dynamic, see what happens.
I mean, Zoodraft looked fantastic, but FSU right now already on a counterattack. We're seeing Georgia Tech start to balance out those solid counterattacks from them, and that normal play that we're used to seeing from them, that very defensive into counterattack heavy, is starting to show now that they have their normal starting 3 back in this game, although FSU is doing the same thing. So it's really going to be an effort of who slips up first now, because the defense is going to be there for both of them. The attacking is going to be solid, but I think it's all about who cracks on the defensive end, more so than who makes a play on the offensive end.
Gotcha. Here comes the ball over to center. Sent out to Ghost, trying to get it center again, but it's not going to work out, and since it's going to be Colin D on the counterattack. Slows things down again, tries to get a pass up to Ducat, but again, none of that works, and it's just gray area at this point. Kind of a volleyball game where the ball just gets sent back and forth, and no actual opportunities going towards either side. But oh, that was a decent one to say the very least. You have Cure-All kind of in an off angle, pretty much on his way back, able to tap it on in towards the center, but Colin D, unreal, gonna miss out on that backboard defense, and instead gonna let it sauce it on into Icarus, who was fresh off of a demo.
This is what I talked about, Gus. It's not the first team to make a play. It's the first team to slip up. And we see at the back of the net, Colin D was unable to find the ball, leaves the net wide open. Icarus comes in and finishes it off readily. However, last game we saw Georgia Tech fire back damn near instantly to Florida State's 1 goal. Let's see if they can do it again, because it only seems to enrage these Georgians.
Absolutely so. I mean, in rage, sure. I mean, we're literally talking about a team, you know, that you know, kind of encapsulates a little bit of a hive. So you know what I mean. You don't want to shake the hive. You don't want to knock it, anything of the sort. But it doesn't look like these old-fashioned Seminoles really care, my friend. 2 minutes into the game, and that's a 2-0 going towards their side. And Icarus, I mean, no flashiness about it. Just a little drip into the goal.
I mean, well placed in towards the backside. Georgia Tech are doing their dance, but they're just getting caught off on rotation at this point. The confidence is really stepping FSU, and I feel like you can tell that because they switch from just counterattack to, like you mentioned before, having those 2 members forward and keeping 1 member back and just applying constant pressure. And I think that change of pace has caught Georgia Tech off guard. I think Georgia Tech definitely have it in the tank, though, to try and bring this one back. We've seen them do it time and time again, and it's just a matter of time, actually, before Florida State slips up just like this. A shot on goal is had by Colin D, but it will be saved here by Icarus.
Potentially. So let's... I mean, if I'm really thinking about it, it doesn't seem like this Georgia Tech side has had too many opportunities going towards the other side of the field. And that's mainly because, again, I mentioned earlier how Florida State has had a little bit more of an attack-centered defensive take, which is so brutal, so brutal against a team like Georgia Tech, who actually likes to have a player, or at least some sort of presence, over to the midfield. And with that sense, they're going to win a lot of 50-50s. They really are. But no actual opportunities are going to come up from that. Like, Dudat, that was a really good shot. That was a really good play coming out from Georgia Tech. But there's not actually going to be anyone on the front lines there to help you out. And instead, it's already going to be a counterattack from FSU because they already have someone up forward. And, yeah, we see it in play. 1:35 left in the game. And Salcedo, whatever you would like to call him, my friends, it's going to be a 3-0 going towards the side of FSU.
And it looks to me, you mentioned Georgia Tech, right? They're booting the ball up the field, but they're not finding one another as players. The teamwork isn't there, and I feel like that has a lot to do with their confidence right now, with the communication. It's something that we see usually Georgia Tech shine at. However, it just hasn't been there this game. They're not making passing plays in the opponent's half. They're trying to bang that ball downfield, just throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks. And that's never going to work against a team with a defense as solid as Florida State's.
Yeah, surely not, my friend. Surely not. And I mean, I'm still trying to search for some openings here for Georgia Tech, because overall it's been I don't know.
Oh,
It's
here's
been
one.
weird. Well, there you go. There is one. Mainly because I was about to say they have no attacking kind of presence. But look at this. I mean, this is a good change up in tempo, to say the absolute least. All three players participating in that one goal. One to the corner, one to the center, another one towards goal. And, okay, there you go, Georgia Tech. They finally have, you know, kind of that lust for goals, you know, kind of back in their hands. Let's see what they can do with it. That was pretty close, too.
Yeah, Kurol was getting a little fancy with it. Nice flip reset onto the ball. Ghost goes for the fake, punts it back out towards Icarus, who plays it centered. Ghost, balls up. This is very, very dangerous here for Georgia Tech. They double commit actually up for it. Now the cross should be had by Salcido, but no, not the connection on the ball that he wants. Sends it into his own half now. Ghost stuck on the defense. The rotations for FSU off for a little bit. Good clear here out into Georgia Tech territory. 30 seconds take down on the clock. The cross is in. The shot is going to be saved by Kurol very readily here. Georgia Tech now have a good opportunity. The passing plays, the confidence there. Colin D just barely whiffs out on a great opportunity.
You're all good in the back lines. Colin D get a stop off Icarus. 10 seconds left, and this is this is bleak for Georgia Tech. This one's pretty much gonna be it, as now we still gonna have a little bit of time.
Hold up,
yeah, no,
guys.
I know.
It wouldn't be the first time a team shuts you up.
Well, no, I don't think it's happened just yet.
You're not gonna say it? Okay.
No, because I haven't said it. I haven't said it just yet. And second of all, that's 10 seconds left here. I mean, 10 seconds left, they were able to get a goal. Now 3 seconds left, can they get another one? The kickoff has already been squandered. Ball's gonna go towards the ground, and that's gonna be it, my friend. Florida State, they're gonna be able to take themselves a second game over Georgia Tech. Now, my man Dor. I mean, I've been trying to grasp what's actually going on in this game, because honestly, it just seems way too one-sided. Going towards Florida State for my liking, especially from the play that we've seen from Georgia Tech in the past couple of weeks. What exactly has changed?
I feel like it's the same thing as game number 1, right? We're seeing Florida State in the driver's seat, and not necessarily in any major way, right? Georgia Tech have been keeping it even, but when it comes to forcing plays, when it comes to forcing out errors from your opponent, I feel like Florida State are doing a better job. Georgia Tech are relying more so on Florida State to make mistakes on their own, but that's just not going to be happening as often. I want to see more of what we saw actually later into the game there from Georgia Tech that looked very promising. Passing plays low on the ground, looking for creative ways to find the back of the net and force out bad rotations from Florida State. And I think confidence is what's going to get you there. A little bit of a break here as we need to get a new server together is going to do that for them. And in just a couple moments, we'll be heading into what might be the final game here of this series. Georgia Tech versus Florida State. Florida State currently have them on the ropes. We'll catch you guys in just a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to our broadcast. My name is Upmine, joined here by my man Door, and here for potentially the conclusion of Georgia Tech versus Florida State University. And yeah, Door, the stakes are not only high because of the standings, but historically, FSU is going to be real happy with a good result here.
This would be the ultimate little bit of revenge. Show that you can take down a team like this heading into playoffs, no less. Florida State have them up against the ropes. But Georgia Tech, not a team to scoff at. These matches have been extremely close, both ending 3-2, both within just an inch of one another. Georgia Tech are coming back swinging. They got a shot on goal. Good save by Icarus, though. Gonna be keeping it out and keeping the score even.
So I was having some audio issues at the very beginning, but I'll just kind of reiterate what you said.
Oh my god, Icarus! What a save, my guy.
Close one. So you're telling me that FSU has never beaten Georgia Tech? Never, ever?
Not a single time. Not with any roster. Not when we had Bruno on the team. Not ever.
Damn. So this one is huge for FSU, and that would set their tempo to that would set their confidence to the moon going into playoffs. Even if they don't actually get that quote-unquote first seed,
goodness.
The judges are going to be super impressed with that little tidbit. And now, ladies and gents, we've already gone through over a minute of our game, and we're still scoreless. This isn't exactly, you know, too big of a change, but Georgia Tech seems like they've been a little bit more aggressive on the front end, but unfortunate there at the very end, because look, Salcido, he is going to get a very long pinch, and Cure all good, not going to be able to stretch in. FSU up 1-0, the score maintains the same. That's a dub going towards the Seminoles.
I mean, it was a good challenge by the Florida State player, but I've got to say, that's really unlucky for Georgia Tech. Pinches like that, they can come out of nowhere, catch you off guard. I want to see them maintain this momentum. They've been playing really well, and there it is. Finally, all that aggression pays off. And Georgia Tech have stepped on the gas pedal so much in this final game. It has been shot after shot after shot. They're down to leave their side of the field open. They just want to score goals right now.
So finally, things are getting interesting here, Dor. Finally getting interesting. Because now Georgia Tech, they chime in early in a game, kind of forcing out FSU. Now, I mean, we haven't really seen an FSU on the back foot just yet. Has Georgia Tech actually been in the lead in this set thus far? I can't remember them, you know, actually being in the lead, or at least
No,
GT.
It's always been Florida State forcing the errors. Now, though, we're seeing Georgia Tech, and that was exactly what I wanted to see from them. That's what we talked about in between the matches. Now it's Georgia Tech forcing the errors. It's Georgia Tech forcing the bad rotations, and it's them in the driver's seat of this match right now. And although the score is 1-1, if Florida State can't find a way to turn around that momentum, I suspect we'll see that gap widen.
Ball's cleared up, in comes Ghost. It's going to be more in a gray area as Dudat. Control the ball. Here comes Salcido again, going up for the 50-50. Cure all good, clears it out. Icarus still playing towards the middle. Oh my god, no one's going to be there for the shot, however. Dudat's going to be able to clear, but after a very long, painstakingly long time, with the ball rolling right in front of goal. And now, going towards the back end, 2 minutes left. Dudat has yet another opportunity to get himself a goal. Colin D taking on a demo. Cure all good with a center. Colin D! He's going to be able to pinch it off the post. And Door. Both of these teams getting closer and closer to a goal. They just can't get these balls on net.
The longer this goes, actually, the more I get worried for Florida State. They're looking to drop back into that very, very defensive play style. The one that Georgia Tech loves to abuse. You haven't seen this ball leave the Florida State half for a long time, and there's a very clear reason for that. The own goal by FSU!
Oh, no.
Sitting directly in the path of the ball. Georgia Tech, they may have gifted him a goal earlier with the pinch, but it is traded right back here by Icarus.
Wow, that is... I was about to say, I mean, that last half, it could have happened to really anyone, but it's just the combination of ball going towards the wall, and the FSU player knocks it down to yet another FSU player right in front of goal, and the ball dribbles on in, but yes! FSU, they bring it back again! Like we just said, they haven't been in a deficit at all in either one of these games. And we literally see it for like 10 seconds here, Door. And FSU already back to a tie. It's 2-2.
I gotta say, there may have been an own goal, but Icarus just feels like the MVP for this team right now. So much confidence going up for every single air dribble. And yes, FSU may be playing passive, but every single opportunity he gets, Icarus is going forward, making things happen, and that's really felt like the big difference for them so far this match. Bit of a dicey opportunity here, though. The game is definitely not closed out, but this is exactly how we've seen the other games go. 2-2, and it's always been Florida State's title. To see if Georgia Tech aren't going to be faltered, though, they have every opportunity in the world to make their way back in this game. They got to save the shot from Ghost, and do that is in the way to make the save.
Here comes a counterattack. Dudat sends it forward. Icarus with a save, and Colin D's going to have yet another opportunity to get a pass in. You're all good trying to get a shot in, but it's deflected away and saved by Icarus. Yet another shot towards the front end. Dudat, 50 seconds left on the clock. And oh, no way! What a save! Icarus, are you kidding me? Again, comes and flying, but the attack is still not done. Georgia Tech on the front end. Icarus still in goal. Colin D almost flips it in by himself. Dude, that's not going to be ready for the shot. 30 seconds left in this game. We're still tied, Door. Let's see what happens as now Georgia Tech tries to break in. They need to get a reverse 3-0.
And for the first time this series, we're not seeing a goal started off at 1 minute. It is coming down to the wire. We might get to see another overtime here. Gus Colin D, the nice shot, good touch by Dudat, but Florida Tech keeping their hearts close to their chest, making sure nothing bad happens. Across from Icarus, touches the ground. No, Dudat is playing it out. Georgia Tech are going for the counterattack here. Gus gonna just play this one down. Smart play here. Florida State take it into overtime. Gus, take us away.
Door, first of all, you literally go to this school. You called it Florida Tech.
Oh my goodness. It's getting to me, man. This match is too close.
All right, it's all good. It's all good. Moving on, my friend. So overtime on the board. Not our first rodeo in terms of overtimes, but it's always painstaking when you see two teams like this actually make it into an overtime stage, because, I mean, you just want to see a little bit more, and you don't want to see it go down to a golden goal, and the golden goal is going to be taken by Georgia Tech essentially out of nowhere. I didn't really see where the momentum was in terms of this play, but it just so happened that Dudat made it past the last point of contact and slips on into the goal. I mean, that's just going to be a 1-2 for Georgia Tech.
And it's so close. I mean, we talk about these teams trying to force goals, and you see how much effort it takes from them to actually get the ball in the back of the net. Every single game, 3-2. Every single game, relatively low scoring here. Georgia Tech looking to drag it back through the mud. And honestly, I don't even count them out of it. Given these teams' history, Georgia Tech coming back from this, the way Florida State's mental has got to be right now, there's no way you're not intimidated.
Intimidation, my friend. I mean, is there really intimidation in this matchup? I mean, you yourself mentioned before that this is a classic matchup between these two teams. And if there's anyone that's going to be intimidated, it's FSU going into this game. But it just looks like they sweep that chip off their shoulder already.
Well, there's only so much time that you can turn things around, right? Georgia Tech, they gave us a different look in that game. They sped the play up a ton. By the end, it looked like Florida State had really started to bring it back a good bit. They started to understand how Georgia Tech's rotations were working. But I want to see another look from Florida State, right? You figured it out. Now what are you going to do on it? In fact, score a goal from half field? What a shot, Salcido!
Okay. I guess that makes it in.
He was miles off the wall, Gus. What the hell?
You know what? Although the momentum was kind of sus on Salcido's side, what an angle and what a maneuver from him. Okay, if there's any way for you to kind of reestablish dominance over a team, that's how you do it. 10 seconds into a game and you score a goal like that. Take a bow, Salcido, and now again. Georgia Tech, it's deja vu, my friend. They find themselves on the back foot within 30 seconds of a game starting.
All right. right, Florida State, they're taking a breather right now. They can finally, for what feels like the first time in forever, have an advantage, but not for long. Cure-all every time we say it, Gus. Georgia Tech comes in, fires one more into the back of the net, and you wonder why this Florida State team has struggled to beat them. This is why. This Georgia Tech side never gives up.
No, sir. No, sir. I mean, I don't really know what the result was in between these two teams when they faced off. I think it was either a week ago or 2 weeks ago. But all I know is that, you know, FSU, they've been looking for blood. They've been hunting for that Georgia Tech blood this entire time, and don't really know the history between these two squads. All I know is that Georgia Tech is undefeated in this matchup. First of all, again, Colin D knocks it on up, hits backboard, and he just drips it in all by himself. He's both enforcer, playmaker, goal scorer, all on the same play, all by himself, my friend. So, yeah, I don't really know the history between Georgia Tech and FSU all that much. All I know is that GT is undefeated. But I want to know if they faced off on lands. I want to know what kind of tournaments these two have faced off, you know, in the past, because it just seems like this seems to be a very striking curse for this FSU side.
Yeah, I mean, it's been on land and it has been online, both in tournament and in seasonal play. It's just been a rough time for Florida State. And Georgia Tech, look at how much confidence they've got. I mean, that was a 1 versus 3 from Colin D and an incredible shot. They are used to this scenario. They are more than capable of taking games off of Florida State, and they're showing us why. 3-1, the biggest lead I think we've seen all series.
Yeah, from Georgia Tech, absolutely. A great pass coming in from Colin D, but that was off of the whiff. An even better pass, however, was from Dudat all the way from the corner. So overall, a great team play from our boys in Georgia Tech. And Florida State University, no answer just yet. I mean, no attacks ever since the first goal. FSU hasn't even made it over to the blue side.
We were talking about that momentum matters so much for the Seminoles here. Getting the ball out of their half is struggle enough in itself. Following it up, finding the confidence. I think that starts with one man, and his name is Icarus here. And there he is, out of the sky. And that's what I want to see. Even if he's not hitting the shot, I want to see pure, unadulterated aggression from the Florida State side. It's their turn to change the pace. It's their turn to take shots. And Saucedo's going to start one up here. Ghost looking to lay it in. Tops it down, and there it is, Saucedo. He does it on his own. Doesn't even need the help. 3-2, Florida State begin to claw their way back into the game.
Yeah, look at this one. Saucedo knocks it on up. Ghost? That pass from Ghost was way before, so the assist goal doesn't really matter there. All we really know is that Saucedo really just chipped that in among so much traffic. And still a goal there from FSU. Still 2:45 left in our game. We're just about to pass the halfway point. And Dora, looks like the right adjustments are being made by both sides, but kind of going further on into our set. Is there really anything that FSU should change about their game, or should they just get goals for him?
Not if they're hitting shots like that. Oh
Jesus.
My God. Icarus flying up here. Great redirect in the top corner. He's going to be there. Follow up, striker, crosser, everything. The same as Colin D was doing earlier. We talked about him being the MVP, and it's not just because he's doing these things, right? If you wanted to do it just on goals, we'd be putting that all onto Saucedo. But Icarus has really been the catalyst for this team to rally together and find that speed, the same way that Dudat and Colin D have been for the Georgia Tech side.
Rightfully so. I mean, you speak about catalysts, and I mean, I've been liking the play from Colin D thus far in this game, but I mean, we want to see everyone step up on this squad, of course. So I think the best course of action is to kind of differentiate every player in terms of positioning, because it just kind of seems this rotation is more or less instinctual than anything for Georgia Tech, and that's maybe how they play on a daily basis anyways. That's an alright strategy to have, but I want to see some sort of switch up, because at this point, FSU, they are taking over. That's another one coming in from our man Ghost, and what a stuff from Icarus to start things off in that play. 1:40 left in the game, and that's gonna be FSU up 4-3. Score maintains the same. I already said this before, but FSU, if the score maintains the same, they're gonna be taking this set 3-1.
All right, every single time we've talked about the goals, Georgia Tech has evened it up. Let's see if they can do it again here. They pulled out some impressive shots. Good one by Kuro here off the backboard. Ghost going to be stopping that one readily, though. Florida State playing calmly in their own half, and I think they're consciously making a lot of these decisions, whether it's to play fast or whether it's to press on that brake pedal a little bit. Icarus, though, doesn't believe in brake pedals. He is go, go, go. And honestly, I love what he offers up for this team here in a game like this. Georgia Tech, though, have shots of their own. They can build out of their own half, start playing this in the corner. Florida State has committed heavily to this attack. One touch by Georgia Tech could look to make a big difference, although Icarus, pardon me, barely going to be winning that 50-50. And that's what Florida State need to continue the aggression.
Yes, sir. So here we go again. Yet another center. Do that. Sends it. Oh, no. I was about to say he sends it forward, but that's going to be a big whiff. Ghost sends it forward. Hits the crossbar. Cure all good with it clear. FSU, they're clearly going for a little bit more of a defensive strategy, but wow! Playing pinball, dripping like water, saucing like gravy, my friend, because look at what this FSU team is whipping up. It's disgusting, my friend. Icarus nailing in a 5th goal for this team with 33 seconds left on the clock. I'm not gonna say it, Dor. I really can't say it, but this one's looking to be close to over.
Man, 2 goals in. They saved the best for last. Desserts come in here for Florida State in a 2-goal lead. We talk about it every time. So much more comfortable. But at the pace these games have been playing, so slow pace, so low scoring. Florida State are comfortable. They think they can hold on to this lead. They're sending 3 members back. Duda has a touch up, but they need to score this ball before that timer hits 0. Salcido playing aggressive, though. Might have a shot of his own. Might be the nail in the coffin, but no, Curol gonna stop it. 1 second on the clock.
That's it.
The ball touches, and for the first time ever, Florida State take down Georgia Tech.
Well, there you go. FSU take a bow. They're going to make it into playoffs, and they're going to make it into playoffs in style. Wonderful from the Seminoles. Again, Georgia Tech, a great regular season, but that's certainly not the way that they want to close things off. Florida State University with the grudge match of the century, and before playoffs even start, that's just wonderful from them, and they hey, deserve the W. That's going to be a 3-1 win from them. Everyone on this FSU team stepping up. Georgia Tech put all of their artillery on the front lines, my friend, and just didn't work this time. You know, surely they're going to come back, you know, ready and raring to go into the next set that they potentially have. And, ladies and gentlemen, what the next set that they potentially have could be coming up next, as University of Louisiana at Lafayette is going to be playing up next against Georgia Tech. But if you guys do remember, the Ragin' Cajuns, they did end up forfeiting a little bit earlier tonight, so we don't exactly know if we're going to have that game coming up next for you guys. We'll come back in just a little bit with either an interview and an update, or just a little bit of a transition as we do head into a break for our next group of games. So stay tuned. We'll bring you guys all the updates you guys need. Congratulations to FSU. My name is Upmine, joined here by my man Dor. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back. And we got a little bit of a surprise for you guys. Before our next game, we actually have an interview here with Salcedo from FSU. First of all, Salcedo, congrats on the W, man.
Thank you.
So, kind of run us through the game, man, because, I mean,
Yeah.
Dor's freaking out the entire time, man. Like...
Yeah.
kind of run us through, because FSU, they have a certain history against Georgia Tech, and I know you guys were very proud of that W.
Yeah. We've lost to Georgia Tech a couple of times now, and we know that we can play them well, and we wanted to do that. We knew that, especially, I mean, we didn't know for sure if Cure All Good was fresh or not, or like if he was cold, but we knew with the sub coming in that we had an opportunity to capitalize on them, you know, having things mixed up. So we just went out and tried to play hard and got away with the victory.
Hey, that's good stuff, man. Every game was close there. I know you guys must have been sweating, especially towards that game 3 when Georgia Tech really ramped up the aggression. What kind of conscious decisions did you guys have to be making in order to counter that?
Oh yeah. We know that Georgia Tech is a solid team, so we just tried to play like as fast as we could and just try and outplay them, because we know that we can keep up with their speed. So we just tried to do our best to keep up with that.
Yeah, generally speaking, we often see you guys tend to focus a lot on counterattacks, tend to be very aggressive. Icarus, though, as well as you, man, your shots, those redirects from midfield, constantly on target. Those were fantastic, just to start off. But it seemed like Icarus in the front line was really the catalyst for a lot of these plays, creating that aggression. Once you guys caught him on the back foot, did you realize that there was a big opening, playing a little bit more aggressively than you normally would?
Oh yeah. I think especially like with Icarus, he has been playing out of his mind the past couple of weeks. I mean, he's been really rolling, and he's been kind of spearheading our attack, which is really good because we've been kind of lackluster on offense for the last couple months. So it's good to see that he's like really popping off, and it's great for our offense and our scoring.
Hey, man, well, congratulations, and you're getting into form just in time. You've locked yourself up a playoff spot. You got a lot of games to play this weekend. I wish you luck, and I know everybody at Florida State is going to be watching and rooting for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Take it easy. Thanks for the interview, and we'll catch you around.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gents, so pretty good interview and a pretty good game, to say the absolute least. And of course, our schedule is not done just yet. We still have Georgia Tech facing up against the University of Louisiana at Lafayette coming up next. So please stay tuned. In just a couple of moments, we'll have you the very last game of this group. We'll be right back. ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to our broadcast. My name is Upmine, joined here by my man Door. And up next we have Georgia Tech trying to solidify their #1 seed spot in group number 5 against the lowest seed University of Louisiana at Lafayette. And this one's a weird old matchup here, Door. It's more for pride than anything.
I mean, right? Pride is one way to put it.
Yeah,
Lafayette's
one way to
looking for a victory, right?
Sure.
Georgia Tech are looking for a punching bag. They're not going to be happy after that last one.
Right.
And you know what? There is a 4-seed team sitting right in front of them for the taking, and it's going to be a real battle here for Lafayette to try and hold on while Georgia Tech applies so much pressure.
Let's see, because I haven't watched this this Ragin' Cajun side play just yet, and there's certainly again certainly a scrappy squad thus far, and I mean I can kind of tell just from the skins you have a dude with a Merc and a cowboy hat that makes you extra chunky and extra yee. That's for sure.
Well, the extra E, I've heard it helps out with scoring a couple goals here and there.
Right.
I'm not sure how it's going to play into Lafayette's strategy in general, right? They're still on the defense. Colin D actually misses. He may have been distracted by the size and sheer mass of the hat, but he turns it back around with a nice little dribble, puts the goal in for Georgia Tech.
There you go. I mean, just how slow Colin D actually took his time to actually get that ball in net was it's comedic in a sense, but in the end it was more methodical, just waiting for some sort of input from Ragin' Cajuns, so he can actually react. But here comes Colin D once again, gonna bounce it off the back wall. Cure all good. He's not gonna get full contact, but instead he's gonna keep it a little bit more possible for yet another attack from Colin D. What a pass from him too! But Lord Leon with yet another deflection. Do that, yet another opportunity to get the ball forward. Broccolo sends it flying over to the center. Colin D with a floater towards center again. This Georgia Tech squad not giving any opportunities for Lafayette just thus far.
No, but Lafayette's been doing a really solid job on defense, actually. And they're looking for a game win or two out of this series. This is the way to do it. Play some solid defense against a team that is very apt at attacking, and that's your way in. Oh, what a shot! Drops off and finds the flip to keep himself in place. Well done.
Well done indeed, my friend. And
yeah, that's kind of saucy, right?
Tell me I did not just see that. Curol Good did like a little bit of a victory lap. He did a whole U-turn in the goal and then comes on out from the other side and then flips on the post for a goal. That's some style points if I've ever seen one. And in terms of just points period, this Georgia Tech side, they're up 2-0 with Lafayette.
2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the game, though. You can assume they could be able to find the back of the net. But I've got to say, outside of Lord Leon, I'm not seeing much pressure applied, and it's struggle here for Lafayette to actually keep up with Georgia Tech mechanically. When we interviewed Salcedo, right, he talked a lot about keeping up with Georgia Tech. They're a very fast team. They're a very strong team rotationally, and I feel like that's where Lafayette just aren't able to keep up right now.
So yet another play, my friend. Half the game has gone on through, and again, there's not going to be much for us to talk about in this game other than potentially just Georgia Tech and some Twitch clip type moments, because again, Lafayette, they weren't even able to get their warm-up game earlier today.
No, they weren't. They did miss out on that. They've locked themselves into the 4th seed. It's not feeling great, but again, taking anything off of a Georgia Tech side is impressive enough. A game, even a few goals, you're going to start feeling a lot better about your night. Georgia Tech, they could be doing what we saw RIT do last night, just play for the Twitch clips, which honestly, at this point, sounds like a nice little morale boost.
It's a tiny bit of a morale boost, I guess you could say, because again, this team, not exactly with, again, they have nothing to lose, nothing to gain. Well, I say nothing to gain, but again, just the kind of the title under their belts. If they could say, yeah, you know, we were able to take on Georgia Tech, bring them close, that's at least going to bring their confidence up as a squad going into whatever next season of play they have going on. because there is going to be quite a long, you know, kind of off season coming up for some of these squads that do go out in groups here in the Power Series. Not many competitions to go around in terms of collegiate Rocket League. So some of these teams not only fighting for just tournament life, but they're also fighting to just keep playing Rocket League.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that these guys are going to enjoy doing most. It's going to be that, but Georgia Tech are having a good old time punishing the backboard constantly of UL Lafayette. UL Lafayette, though, they can actually look to find a good few goals here based on the aggression of Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech are sending 3 members into the half. They're playing very haphazard. I don't want to say casually, but definitely over-aggressive, and that can be punished by UL Lafayette, and we actually saw it get punished earlier.
So, I mean, I do like this sort of playstyle from Lafayette, if I'm being completely honest. They're just playing full defense, and whenever they have an opportunity to attack, they take it, and all right. University of Louisiana, they're actually going to capitalize on a little bit of a cheeky goal here. Lord Leon, good ball control, too. Huh.
I mean, I mentioned his name earlier. He looks very adept. He looks like one of the few players on this Lafayette side that can really keep up with Georgia Tech on every part of the field, but he can't play all of the field. And so it's up to his teammates to create opportunities like that where he can play aggressive, where he can challenge those 50-50s and look to score goals for him.
There goes, once again, yet another opportunity for Georgia Tech. Gonna knock it up towards the middle. Dudat trying to get a ball in, and again, Lord Leon kind of living up to his name at this point. This guy is not only a boss, shoutouts to Pokemon, but he's also being just the lord of this team because, man, oh man, he's stopping everything for this squad.
He's stopping, saving, doing everything, but he can't keep that one out. Curol eventually does it here in 6-2 the scoreline with 50 seconds left. Gus, is it time to say it?
I would have liked to say it, like I kind of want to say it like 3 minutes beforehand, but 50 seconds beforehand, I would like to say it. Dora, yeah, no, that one has to be it. Dagger to the heart, but I'm not going to say the real catchphrase just yet because, again, it's 6-2. And it's still game one. It's still game one. We're still going to see some fight out of this Ragin' Cajun side. But surely again...
Do they get more Ragin the more Georgia Tech do this? I feel like they could power up a little bit. Oh my god! Lord Leon, if he saves all of these, he is a lord indeed! Nothing can get through the goal when he's in the way. Now, trying to clear the ball out. Looking for a counterattack here. Maybe a little bit of an extra goal. Curol looking for a cross. Tries for the pinch. Not going to be had. 16 seconds on the clock. UL Lafayette looking to play out of their own half, but will not colon D in the way. Leon has to use a lot of boost to get to this ball. I don't expect he'll be able to get much out of this play. Now Dudat actually has a shot towards the back post. Curol hits it away from the goal even. And Georgia Tech, they're more than comfy with that 6-2 win.
Oh yeah, no, they're gonna be more than fine with that because I mean, if I'm being completely honest, Georgia Tech, they're not looking for anything flashy. They're not looking for a big W. I mean, we were saying earlier they're looking for a quote-unquote punching bag, but no, they don't necessarily want something like that. They want a good, clean, solid game of Rocket League, and they just want to kind of end off this group and you know, in a pretty decent fashion in a sense. They don't want to make anyone look bad. They don't want to make anyone look great either. Georgia Tech, they want to get this W and just clean things up so they can solidify that first seed spot. And just with this game alone, if I'm not mistaken, they should be up there. But if somehow University of Louisiana can sneak by a W, we would have to start talking about that table.
Yeah, Florida State still ever lurking, haunting Georgia Tech for the first time ever here. But Lafayette are having a good time in this game. We see a little bit of cheeriness in chat. The players all being very, very positive.
Lots of colon Ds
all around. It is what you love to see here. A good bit of sportsmanship in what's going to be Lafayette's final game.
So, Mr. Dor, I do understand that there's really not much you can do against a, well, purely against a team that might just be better than you in terms of skill level, period. But if there's anything tactically that you would like to say to University of Louisiana, if you were standing right behind them in a land setting, what would you potentially throw at them in terms of strap books?
It's what I tell every single team who's not playing confidently enough, or is who needs to make up a good bit of space or score in a game against a team that is potentially more experienced than them. Play heavier into the midfield. Yes, you're going to risk open a few goals, but you're at least going to put them on the back foot a little, maybe take away a bit of that confidence, and you're going to be stopping plays early as opposed to trying to stop shots later.
Tips from Coach Door. Keeping the door wide open, in a sense, for that W. Door, I mean...
I'll give you the pun when you come up with a good one, Gus.
Right. I was about to say, Door. In terms of you know, actual puns around your name, because I mean we got some pun masters here around EGF.
There just aren't good door puns. I've heard them all.
What is, I know, but like, what would be the primal pun? What would be the primal door joke for you know, someone to throw at you?
It needs to be proprietary. It needs to be relevant to the situation.
That's
Otherwise, if you just come out with a standard door pun, like, you know, oh, there's the door, whatever, you know, I shut the door.
There's the door, walk on out.
Yeah, it's not going to work if you use a normal one that you've heard every day. You really have to make it special to the situation if you want it to have any traction.
Gotcha. I feel like a mixture of, like, you could talk about maybe like the Doors reference. Like the band reference, or potentially that the scene from oh man, I can't remember the actual name of that one horror movie, but I mean, again, references be referencing though, ladies and gentlemen, because again, back into our actual game of Rocket League. It's gonna be a 2-0 lead for our boys here in Georgia Tech. The Raging Cajuns, not exactly raging too much at the moment because we just don't see that fire in them just yet.
All right, maybe they can find another goal here. Actually keeping it relatively close. Georgia Tech only finding 2 in these 2 minutes here. Significantly better than we saw in the previous game. But Curol and Cole and D are going to look for something a little bit fancier here. Double touch off the back wall. Just goes out wide towards Dudat. Going to cross it again. Now you Lafayette get a little bit of room to play with this ball. Or Leon. Uh-oh, he swapped cars. He's here to play. Tries for the flip reset. Doesn't quite get the connection with the ball, so he can't keep it up. But a good attempt here.
Surely a good attempt, and we're probably going to see a couple more. Georgia Tech in the back lines, and somehow, all alone, our man is able to bring that one out. Dudat, I mean, I really have no clue how Dudat was actually able to control himself in that position, in that situation. And it's just like, it's small interactions like that where I just kind of sit back and I just kind of let my jaw drop for a second, knowing that I could never pull that off.
Yeah, I know. I 1v1'd you earlier. Yeah, it was very
We
clear.
didn't do
Not
the BO5.
capable.
We didn't do the BO. We did a BO3.
Do I need to clean up a 3rd game against
Yes,
you
you
guys?
do. We were both rusty.
Oh my
I'm
God.
rustier.
Hit me up after the stream. I'll make sure you know.
Yeah, sure.
Look, man, you can have the salty run back on the BO5, but I've already won the BO3. It's not gonna happen, man.
No, we BO5 is standard for a grudge match like that, man. And you said it yourself. We gotta run it back, ladies and gentlemen. For reference, before this broadcast, we did have a little bit of free time, and we played a little bit of Rocket League 1v1s. Had a little bit of fun.
Ooh, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Now that we get back into our broadcast, right? We get Lord Leon again. It's literally just Leon, and that is so nuts. And it was so close to being defended too by Cole and D. Oh,
Man, I feel like Leon's actually in the running for maybe one of the most competent players on this field. As much as I was saying he can keep up with the Georgia Tech players, he's actually running circles around a couple of them. Do that though. Gets over top of him, shows him who's boss. A 3rd goal on the board for the Georgia team.
ooh! I just realized how slick that pass was from Cole and D.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you.
Yo!
This Georgia team's got so much to offer.
Okay. Yeah, that's why we referenced earlier, ladies and gentlemen, that the game that we saw earlier against FSU wasn't exactly the Georgia Tech that we're so used to, in a sense. They're flashier. They're more competent in a sense. It just didn't seem like all of their players were kind of up in a synergy type sense, just up in an energy type sense. Period. Energy, synergy, it be what it be, ladies and gentlemen, as again, Georgia Tech, they come out in the 2nd game of their night. And currently nailing yet another high-scoring affair. It's 4-1 thus far, but
Whoa.
Lord Leon, what was that stuff?
Dude,
My
he
God.
is putting on the sauce right now. He's actually keeping it relatively close. And you'll see him challenge the ball twice at one point in the air. I mean, the dude is just popping off left and right here. I love to see it. And honestly, I feel like he's really making this game interesting.
Yeah, he certainly is. He certainly is. I mean, I didn't really expect to see, you know, such a great individual in a team that isn't exactly performing all that well in this season. I mean, we've seen teams like say UCLA just yesterday. There are teams that aren't going to make it into playoffs that do legitimately have a lot of talent on their sides, that do have a lot of potential in this team. Imagine if you had a team of 3 Lord Leons, right? That would be a playoff contender. Not just a playoff contender, but that's like top 8 territory.
Yeah, that's a very scary prospect. And I imagine 3 players playing like that. I mean, we see he's already getting double challenges in the air out of a single aerial. I can't imagine what 3 of them does. That's 6 challenges in the air before you ever get to score on them. Just think about it, guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man, absolutely. So, again, you would hope that theory would go for a lot of other teams, a lot of other situations in esports. Like, like you wish you could have like 3 different Ds on a team, like pretend. No, you simply can't have that. Everyone else needs to have their own role and whatnot. Everyone is individual, has their own individual play style, and has their own spot on the team. And that's kind of what's great about these newer squads that pop up, because I don't really know how long this University of Louisiana at Lafayette squad has played with one another. It's purely because of the synergy that could build up, and collegiate esports. That's literally what the point of collegiate esports is. You want to be placed in a spot where you will get that experience for the future. If these players do plan on competing in professional Rocket League in the future, this is a great start for them. They get placed in, you know, against one of the best teams in their division in a sense, in the realm of collegiate Rocket League. They go through the motions, they try to win, and, you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You move on into the next season, you make the right adjustments, you get scrims against some other teams, and, I mean, hopefully it works. And I actually have a lot of hope in this Raging Cajun side, but for now, Georgia Tech, they just seem like the more fashion team, the more talented team for now.
That they do. And like you mentioned, plenty of potential within this UL Lafayette side. Brockaloo has actually impressed me a good bit as well in the games I've seen of him prior. Lord Leon obviously there, so this team has potential, but I think they just need to step up together and not just individually, which is kind of the opposite of what we've seen from a lot of other teams.
Right, and I mean, that's probably going to be the most surprising thing is, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pull up the standings real quick. I do not think that they are updated just yet. This is updated as before the FSU and Georgia Tech game, ladies and gentlemen. So kind of looking at things, University of Louisiana at Lafayette, they're currently 0-5 on the season, and the pace of this game is going to lead them into an 0-6. Now, that won't deter them by any means. I mean, so many teams have bounced back from just disastrous seasons, you know what I mean? And this seems like one of those developmental kind of leagues for themselves, where they can just test themselves, benchmark themselves, see where they're at in terms of other teams, and then see, you know, how can they actually improve. And looking at Louisiana's play, I don't think I could give solid criticism just yet. I feel like we would just have to watch that third game so we could give kind of that constructive criticism. But for now, I know for a fact that this Louisiana squad is going to be a lot better going towards the future of Collegiate Rocket League.
As we look to get into what might be something to tie it up here for Georgia Tech, we are already in the lobby. We had to make a new one, so it took a little bit of time, which is a little bit of time for Lafayette to actually recenter themselves, you know. It looks like they're having a good time by the way they're chatting in the server, by the way they're chatting in Discord. I honestly think they're enjoying themselves in this match, even though they may be losing, which is always great to see. It's teams like Lafayette, it's teams like Niagara that can come in and have a good time and play to the best of their ability regardless of the situation. That's what I love to see out of these collegiate teams.
No, absolutely. It's great sportsmanship. I think the last thing that you want to see from developing players is BM. You know what I mean? It's probably the last thing that we want to see because, like, you know, everyone's trying to prove. Everyone's trying to, you know, just, you know, of course you want to win and whatnot, but this is a space where you need to support each other in kind of pursuit of the same goal at the end, to become or to get to the upper echelon of this esport. And, you know, with such a tight-knit community, such as Collegiate Rocket League, it's always so great to see teams, you know, just wholesomely interacting with one another in between games, just like, you know, just weird name references that, you know, just colon D going back and forth between the two sides. It's actually really fun, but, you know, that's also kind of the magic of just collegiate sports in general, just the collegiate culture in general. Just a couple of young studs trying to have a good time here, Dor.
Hey, man. Hey, they're just trying to play the game, have a good time. I mean, we saw it yesterday with the Northeastern versus RIT game. High stakes as ever, all for their pride, but they were in chat having the time of their lives playing such a close series. And it goes to show how much these players care about what they're doing and how much fun they have doing it. I expect none of them want to stop playing, and so that makes playoffs all that much more important for Georgia Tech. Getting a bit of momentum off of this game is going to be real nice.
Jesus. That opportunity was pretty close, and I don't think we've seen this University of Louisiana side tie up a game just yet. So, I mean, if anything, we could see a little bit of a chance here. I mean, that early goal that they let up was just unfortunate rotation, but wow, what a formation there from our boys in Georgia Tech. I mean, you had the tiki-taka back and forth in the back end. You had Colin D. If he had the boost up at the front end of the field, that play would have essentially gone through, I think, just for one of the flashiest goals that we've seen thus far today. But for now, 3 minutes left in the game, and it's still 1-0, with actually Georgia Tech with an opportunity to make a little bit of a counterattack. Oh no.
That they do. Lord Leon, though, right on top of the ball here. He'll challenge this one when it comes down from do that. In fact, no, it gets banged past. He just has to control it. And I like what I've actually seen from UL Lafayette. They've stopped a lot of the bleeding. They've managed to play confidently, challenge Georgia Tech on a lot of these balls. Yes, they're going to be losing a lot of those 50-50s just based on mechanics alone, but it's good to see them have the confidence to play up against a bigger team.
You know, they have to get comfortable in a sense. It just doesn't seem like they're playing at their full potential like they would have played a little bit earlier on against potentially Charleston. And that's kind of why I actually do feel kind of bad for the fact that they weren't able to actually play out their game a little bit earlier on. Charleston took the forfeit win from University of Louisiana, and I think it was because, you know, some of their players couldn't make that time. So it happens. Scheduling issues, it's always gonna, you know, it's always gonna affect the team, you know, one way or another. And it just so happens that this time their all important warm-up game to try to get themselves ready for Georgia Tech wasn't able to happen. And wow, what a play there coming in from Georgia Tech. Yeah, he went in for the flip reset, man.
Almost the nastiness, not quite though, and like we mentioned, Georgia Tech, they're playing for the Twitch clips, man. If you guys get it, at least give them that. They want to take home a little something tonight. And you know what? I think that'd be a nice little souvenir, wouldn't it, Gus?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it would be so good. Just you know how all these players, they have titles under their names? You know,
yes.
Like here you have Cure All Good, and you just have Season 10 RNG chant. You just have a G. I guess you could say GT Conquerors, Georgia Tech winners, something of the sort. At least some sort of title. You know, like #1, like that show, The Biggest Loser. It happens. It happens. It happens. Hey, it's savage, but that's honestly, it's honestly a really good title to have because I mean it's. First of all, you do win, and yes, you're not going to be a winner in the end, but still being able to take away a dub, still being able to take on Georgia Tech, a team like, you know, a team of their caliber in a sense. To at least have that title, to at least have that confidence into the offseason, it's not going to be all that bad. So, you know what, I'll stick to it, Dor. The Biggest Losers.
I honestly suspect UL Lafayette, definitely one of my picks to watch during the next season. I think they have a lot of things that they can just change about their team play that are going to make them that much better. A little bit of coaching goes a long way. A little bit of conscious decision making can change the course of a game. We've seen games go from double digits for one team's favor all the way to just being close as they could ever, just because a little bit of pressure towards a certain part of the field can absolutely shut teams down, and smart play like that is what wins teams like Lafayette games.
And again, it's more of a hopeful thing. Again, like you mentioned, I mean, a new coach for them to at least point them in the right direction might be the right move, or potentially, I mean, I don't really know if they have a coach at the moment, but if they do have a coach, he's gonna have a lot of work to do in the off season. But first of all, I don't think we've ever made a shout out like this, but shout outs to our esports management people, shout outs to coaches, kind of the people that are in charge of kind of leading these esports athletes to the right place. And really, like we mentioned before, this is all for experience and kind of, refining them to be the athletes of the future. So honestly, don't really know what University of Louisiana at Lafayette really have in terms of support staff, but I'm very hopeful in all sense of the word.
I mean, there's a few people, like, not just the coaches and such that bring them up, but also, all the people working for their school's esports org. I know Hops is always in the chat when Washington State's playing. I know the Florida State people always pull up, and I'm sure everywhere else has presidents, social media managers, and even just students that come along to support them. And you know what? You at Lafayette, I'm sure, have their fans, but today it's Georgia Tech taking away a nice little victory to end off their night.
Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be moving on into yet another group of action. Let's see what we got up next. Apologies. Our next group is going to be group number 8. That's Utah State and the University of Washington, San Jose State, and Washington State. So we've got quite the northwestern battle to take on next on stream. But Dor, I don't think you'll be joining us for yet another game though.
So sadly, I'll be gone. And you have such a good group ahead of you, man. These guys are all neck and neck. I'm excited to watch the games. I know you're excited to cast them. Ladies and gentlemen, you won't want to miss it. It'll be going down here on Official EGF in just a little bit. If you want to catch any more of me, you can find me on Twitter at @Dor_cast. But that is it. That's all I've got for tonight.
Absolutely, my friend. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here on stream. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be moving on to the rest of our broadcast. We have well, I don't think this is a first in EGF, but this is certainly a first in EGF Collegiate Power Series. We have a trio cast coming up next with 2 brand new faces to the EGF caster booth. So I'll be here to kind of host them up, kind of wrangle on these 2 new names to the EGF scene. So ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned as we'll be right back with yet another group of Rocket League action.